until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News at 7. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. South African authorities have seized $9.3 million cash in transit from Nigeria. The money was seized from 2 Nigerians and an Israeli who were traveling in a private jet at Lanseria Airport in the outskirts of Johannesburg. A police spokesman says the plane took off from Abuja, but the occupants did not declare the amount, which was above the authorized limit. The seized money, which is in unused dollar bills, has been deposited at the South African Central Hospital. 3 days after a fighter jet on an operation against Boko Haram disappeared in the northeast, Nigerian Air Force authorities have ruled out sabotage. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Adesola Amosu dropped these hints to journalists on the sidelines of a meeting with President Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja. He, however, said the military has a fair idea of the whereabouts of the jet that went missing during an operation against Boko Haram insurgents.
One of our Alpha jets went on a routine operational mission in the northeast. On the return, they lost contact with the control tower. That made us to immediately initiate search. The weather is not being helpful. The citizens are very helpful. We're getting some good information, but you know, in the aviation, we have specific information that we ought to have to make the search easy. But the information we're getting from the citizens, good, but not sufficient, good enough for us to pinpoint the area of, define the area of search. But we have an idea of where the aircraft could be. Don't forget, is the open Sahel. It looks, some people may think it's easy, but in the open Sahel, sometimes it's even very challenging. A human being standing may look like a tree. And again, the area we're talking about is we have operations going on there. You have limitations as to how low you can go to conduct the search. But we have the platforms. But I'm hopeful that before the end of the day, before the end of the week, we should be able to provide positive information as to the location and then the pilots. But one thing is clear, that whatever problem they had, an ejection was contemplated. It is my hope that the pilots are still alive.
But do you suspect any sabotage or foul?
Sabotage, no, because it's a distance of just from Maiduguri to Jola. We're in full control of the airspace. But don't forget, when you lose radio signal becomes challenging. There are so many possibilities, but we're working on it.
Thank you very much.
No fewer than 20 people are reported to have been killed and many others injured in renewed communal clash in Tunari village, Wukari local government area of Taraba State. The incident started when some gunmen suspected to be Fulani herdsmen invaded the village from the neighboring Plateau State. President of the Youth of Vision, Wukari, Sir Esen Agu, told journalists that the attackers struck at about 10 a.m. on Sunday when several residents of the village were in church. He expressed regrets that the attackers, said to have been numbered over 300 targeted only Jukun Christians, prompting a lot of them to relocate to other areas. Another eyewitness, who said he narrowly escaped the attack, expressed sadness at the lukewarm attitude of the security operatives, whom he accused of coming to the aid of the victims after the attackers had succeeded in perpetrating their evil act. Confirming the attack, the police public relations officer, Joseph Kwaji, said there was an attack but is unable to confirm the number of casualties, as the authentic figures were yet to be made available to the command. A sit-in protest was held at the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, to mark the 5 months in captivity of the abducted Chibok girls. The sit-in protest was tagged to break the silence. Organizers say the government is handling the matter with kids' gloves.
If the federal government handlers didn't have children, at least people that surround them have children, and Chibok girls, they are all our girls. We're talking, we are laying our voice, we are breaking the silence from the state of Osun to tell the whole world that today marked the 5th month that the Chibok girl has been kidnapped.
We should not be concerned about elections, we should not be concerned about anything, we should be concerned about this country. The house of Nigeria is on fire, the northern part of Nigeria is on fire. These girls are in captivity 153 days today, and the nation, if we cannot fight for the most vulnerable people in our nation, then who are we as a nation?
I want the federal government to take notice that we are aware of the disappearance and unknown place where our sisters are, and I want the federal government to release them alive and now.
The United Nations is keen on promoting new energy sources in Nigeria to check the high rate of premature deaths on the continent. Special Representative of the UN Secretary General on Sustainable Energy, Kande Yumkela, disclosed this in Abuja. The UN envoy was a guest speaker at the Bamanga Tukur International Lecture Series.
Nigeria is a significant part of that energy poverty, but there's another statistic that is even more frightening. Still in Africa, about 80% of our people rely on firewood and charcoal for their primary energy needs, particularly cooking. That is also resulting in almost 800,000 premature deaths every year. 800,000 premature deaths. Cancer, premature pneumonia. So a lot of problems for the women and children.
Energy, because it's the greatest thing in Nigeria now we are looking for. Always asking President Jonathan, when are we going to have this? When electricity? Good. So is that energy. So we need energy security.
It's the CoreTV News at 7. We'll take a break and we'll be back with more reports. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it, don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Thank you for being there. Outgoing National Chairman of Labour Party, Dan Uwanyao, has spoken out for the first time on why the party has never considered collaborating with Nigeria's largest opposition party, the All Progressives Congress. The Labour Party chairman also spoke on his regrets as he prepares to vacate the office he occupied for almost 11 years. The report.
He's been in office for almost 11 years, and now it's time to leave. Dan Uwanyao has been the face of Labour Party since former Labour leader Adams Oshiomhole had haunted him in 2003. But in the next few weeks, a new man will occupy the seat. He tells CoreTV about some of the things he will never forget.
I was on my own on a private business practicing law. doing very well in Chief Rotimi Williams' chambers as an associate practitioner, and also doing other things. When he met me in Port Harcourt at the Presidential Hotel on a breakfast table, I said, Dan, come, are you here or there? Good party. I said, I'm not in any party. He said, no, come, we have a party. You can do it. God brought you here. I said, do you people have money? He said, no, Dan, you know you can fix it. Everything's not about money. You know how them stocks. I returned here. He kept following me until finally we agreed. So you can see the contradiction in all that we have done. But I have also, I'm sure if you ask him, he will tell you I have not disappointed him. I have put in my best because before I take any assignment, I make sure that I'm prepared for it.
Nwayawo was a trade unionist before Labour Party and now describes himself as a professional in politics. The former banker insists that he's not on salary but admits that there is a lot of temptation in politics. He cites an example of how he was offered a large sum of money to betray Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko.
There is heavy temptation in this office, monetarily, in all currencies. I don't know what I'm saying. I said that much to NEC yesterday. In this office, somebody offered 500 million naira for me to truncate Mimiko's case in the tribunal in 2006, 2007. I mean 2007, 2008, until 2009. 500 million. I had him on tape. In this last election, the same thing happened. I was asked to mention my price.
The man who was the face of Labour Party in the last 10 years says he will be living with only one major regret.
Regrets? Maybe because we have not been able to achieve electronic voting. And it is deliberate that both INEC and the National Assembly has consistently and persistently refused or neglected to let it be. That is the only way we can move on and Nigeria can develop. India, with over 600 million voters, use the electronic voting system. Nobody goes to tribunal because you need not to go and queue. You can be in your bedroom at that time, you vote. It is there. No ballot box, no ballot paper, no tog, no assignment for miscreants.
And now that he is on his way out of office, the Labour Party chairman says he is still not sure of what to do next. He says he's keeping his options open, but reveals that one of them is a return to the law practice.
The spokesman of the Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, Taufik Ganiyu, has assured that Lagosians will get a free, fair and credible primary in the course of choosing the party's governorship candidate. The primaries will produce the party's flag bearer in the 2015 governorship election. We'll bring you that report later. Contrary to the provisions of the Nigerian electoral law, which stipulates that election campaigns should commence 90 days to the date of polls, major political parties have continued to hold rallies in different parts of the country. On the other hand, the Independent National Electoral Commission has continued to feign ignorance of this infraction. The situation has precipitated tension in the polity. Olajumoke Olatuji looks at the position of the law in this report.
Section 99, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended stipulates, for the purpose of this act, the period of campaigning in public by every political party shall commence 90 days before polling day and end 24 hours prior to that day. This law was designed to ensure that elected office holders who are still in office but with plans to return to office will not fritter away the official time campaigning to be re-elected. The draftsmen of the act were no doubt aware the electioneering campaign in Nigeria is always a big deal, affecting every facet of national life. Once it starts, electioneering campaigns in Nigeria is time-consuming and have the capacity to keep everything else at bay. But there have been disagreements as to what exactly a political campaign is. The largely subjective and varied definitions of political campaigns have been maximally exploited by the politicians.
The sad thing about the entire process is the silence of INEC, who has the constitutional right to punish any offender or even to make a pronouncement asking them to stop the campaign before the whistle is blown. And that silence, portends grave danger to the electoral process in 2015, because this umpire must be seen to be independent, must be seen to use the sledgehammer in the face of breaches that are being committed all over the place by politicians.
The next general elections in the country have been scheduled for early next year, and the February 14 and 28, 2015 dates set for the general elections. Campaigns are not supposed to start until October. The major political parties, particularly the ruling People's Democratic Party and the opposition All Progressives Congress, have wantonly breached the set provisions of the Electoral Act.
It is actually a sabotage of the law of the land, and it is a way by which our leaders become lawless. I mean, to show to the world that they are really not the kind of leaders that the world over think that they are. They are lawless. They disobey their own laws. Hypocrisy is superlative at the side of the government, and the tendency to be lawless is being displayed by that exhibition of lawlessness.
The law about 90 days, the ban on campaign until 90 days to election is not explicit. For example, that law needs to specify what constitutes a campaign. If I put my name on a poster and say 2015 here I come, will that constitute campaign in the face of the law? So we need to take a second look at that law and spell out in clear details what constitutes a campaign 90 days before election. So somebody will, so if INEC tries to convict somebody now, that person may just say that, look, I am only advertising myself. I have not said I'm contesting for any election.
Electioneering campaigns are limited to a period within which a political party has an opportunity to sell itself or to tell the electorate how far it has met its electoral premises and to canvass for the votes of the electorate. Olajumoke Olatuji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Away from politics, the proposed plan by the federal government to ban the sales and consumption of hides and skin, popularly known as momo, is generating reactions from Nigerians. Our correspondent Rashid takes a look at momo as a delicacy and a source of income to many people.
Momo, a delicacy made from hides and skins of cows, has become a household name in Nigeria. Though it cannot be ascertained how and when it became a recipe, its consumption, which cuts across all social strata, has led to the creation of an industry. From its production processes, distribution, and retailer in the market, momo is no doubt a multi-million naira industry.
Looking at the production process of this delicacy popularly known as momo, it is evident that it is a full-fledged business on its own. And as it is, it has become a generational occupation where it's been handed over from mothers to daughters.
When our husbands peeled the hides, we burn them and make it to pomo. We started from Okebode before we expanded and came to this place. If we are counting now, I have been on this business for over 30 years and it's now being handled by my child.
I met my mother doing it. We were born into it, and it's over 15 years now that I have been doing this, and I have recorded much success.
As Nigerians wake up to the proposed ban on sales and consumption, what comes to the mind is the economic implications of the proposal on the people. But just as questions continue to mount on what informs the ban, this nutritionist gives a verdict on pomo as a source of nutrient in food.
We have different kinds of pomo. You have the white, you have the brown. But even as it may be, both are low in nutritional content, so they are of little or no benefit. Morning has its own side effects, and so you find that all these things may predispose to cancer. But pomo may be recommended, I won't use the word prescribed, may be recommended because it doesn't have any, it's of low nutritional content.
Opinions, though, differ on what the ban means due to its consumption across all social strata, but the consensus is that it amounts to nothing but a big joke and misplacement of priority to ban its consumption.
I think Pomo Shabo, I'm not really in love of Pomo. But if it's meat now, I'll complain. Provided Pomo is not, I don't like Pomo like that, so I don't have problems.
Who is in Nigeria who doesn't eat Pomo? Tell me. But they can ban the consumption. They have to talk to Nigerians first. To talk to Nigerians first. This is like a staple food for Nigerians. Pomo aba. Who will ban Pomo for Nigeria? No way.
While the views of consumers may differ, those whose livelihood revolves around its sales and consumption are not taking the threats to their daily bread lightly.
It's not good. If they ban this mama, it's not okay at all. Because you know that in Nigeria, there's many people with poverty. Poverty is reigning in Nigeria. No substitution for so many people, so they don't need to buy this mama. As a seller, it will affect us.
If the federal government acts true to its intention of banning the consumption and sales of pomo, it's no doubt going to be a tug of war between the federal government and Nigerians. And as the clock ticks, Nigerians and the world over are anxiously waiting to see where this will end. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshobo.
I just hope Rashid himself did not go home with some pieces of pomo. And in what seems to be a reaction to this report, the federal government has no plan to ban what is locally called pomo. Agriculture Minister Akinwumi Adesina made the clarification in an interview with journalists in Abuja. He insisted that the authorities are working on making hide and skin attractive for the local leather industry. He, however, hinted that pomo may be more expensive after the proposed reforms. The Lagos State government has cautioned residents against speculations following the collapse of a 6-story building at the premises of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Lagos. The National Emergency Management Agency, which presently puts the number of deaths recorded so far at 46, also urges restraint over casualty figures. Oluwaseyi Adegoke's report is presented from our studios.
The collapsed building left 46 people dead with 130 others rescued alive. Lagos State Commissioner for Physically Planning and Infrastructure, Toyin Ayinde, says the cause of the collapse should not be based on speculations.
We've asked for the engineering team to meet us. I've asked that the engineering team be here, and for about 2 hours now, no member of the engineering team has come because we also have questions to ask them. Even when buildings don't have approvals, they ought to be built professionally. So we have been looking for their team. We're yet to have them. We hope that in the course of the week, they'll get to us.
The General Manager, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Femi Osaitolu, says the government has put the situation under control.
I will now use this opportunity to appeal to the citizens of the states that they should remain cool, calm, and collected, that we are on top of all the challenges, and that we've been working since yesterday afternoon till date, and we are approaching ground zero.
Public Relations Officer of the National Emergency Management Agency Southwest Zone, Ibrahim Farinloye, says rescue operations will continue at the site to ensure the safety of everyone involved.
Investigations will show what really happened. We could seal the beams. Some of the beams are intact. The blocks are still intact. So we may be able to rule out some permutations going around.
Experts have advised Nigerians to be careful and adhere to building standards so as to save lives and property.
On CoreTV News at 7. Join me again at 9:45 for the primetime news. Thank you for watching. I am Ebolomo Adekunle.